Story time. Way back in the day when I was much younger, my family and I would go to grandma's house every Christmas. Except for my grandma wasn't local. You see, I was all the way over in Southern California, while my grandma was all the way over in Nebraska. But my parents were pretty normal and reasonable, and were like, yeah, of course we're gonna fly every single year to grandma's house. Until one year, they met in secrecy without me, and were like, you know what? We have a better idea. We're gonna road trip. And so every year afterwards, we would take our minivan, our Toyota Previa, pack it to the brim, throw our dogs in and their kennel, and drive through all the states to Nebraska. One particular year, we were driving through Nevada, Utah, and eventually made it into Colorado and got close to the Colorado Rocky Mountains, where our story gets dicey. And now at this point in the story, you're like, why would it get dicey? Well, if you've been paying attention, we have a minivan, a Toyota Previa, which is only a 2-wheel drive, and it's packed to the brim, which with snow and ice is a recipe for disaster. And there is in fact snow and ice as we are entering the Colorado Rocky Mountains. And as we go up, it's getting icier and icier and icier until we hit the ice. We slide across it. We hit the guardrail and then the side of the mountain. The airbags have gone off. The car is steaming from the front. And you're probably wondering, thinking that this is the peak of the story. But we haven't got to the peak of the mountain. There is no mechanic on the side of the road, and the car is still in fact running. So we just have to keep going. And so we are making our way to this peak of the mountain, and as we get to the highest point of the road, the highest point of the mountain, the road begins to widen. However, the guardrail is no more. And so we're trying to go as cautiously and carefully as possible, but we hit ice again. And we start spinning, and momentum is carrying us seemingly over the cliff. In this moment, I just remember my dad letting go of the wheel, his foot leaving the pedals, my mom crying out, Jesus, 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 over and over again. And even though the momentum felt great and it seemed like we might go off the edge, it felt as if something, like as if hands prevented our car from going over the edge. Our car suddenly came to a stop very near the edge of that cliff. And it was in that moment we realized God had answered my dad letting go of the wheel, my mom crying out to Jesus. God was with us. And eventually we made it into Denver, where we had family. One of them was an amateur mechanic. He worked on our car and got it to the point where we could make it to Nebraska. And eventually we ditched that car and got a new one. But as I think about that time in our lives, that moment that we almost went off the cliff, I think about how God answered us when we cried out to him, how God was with us. And any time in my life that I feel I'm alone, or I feel like my life is going to go off a cliff, I'm reminded to let go of the wheel. I'm reminded to cry out to Jesus. And I just want to encourage you to do the same. I want to read a scripture. I want to read Joshua 1:9. And Joshua 1:9 says this. It says, have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened and do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. May this Christmas season not be about the gifts or the presents or the festivities, but may it be about the birth of the one who cares for us and loves us the most. Hopefully this blessed you and encouraged you.